Isaiah chapter 58 and verse 1. Cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sins.
Copyright disclaimer. This content does not belong to Bible Chronicles or claim this intellectual property. The content provided today has and always will belong to the content owner. Bible Chronicles does not have any affiliation with the owner of this property. As mentioned, Bible Chronicles did not intend to make use of any material for the purpose of harvesting gain. However, Title 17 of United States copyright law states material and use can only be done when it's for theological or general educational purposes, and thus Bible Chronicles believes that this principal material falls under fair use, which honors protection under Section 107 of the same U.S. copyright law.
We were all wounded at Wounded Knee, you and me. We were all wounded at Wounded Knee, you and me. In the name of manifest destiny, you and me, you and me, you and me. They made us many promises, but always broke their word. They penned us in like buffalo, drove us like a herd, and finally on the reservation where we'd gone for our preservation, we were all wiped out by the 7th Cavalry. You and me, you and me. We were all wounded at Wounded Knee, you and me. We were all wounded at Wounded Knee, you and me. In the name of manifest destiny, you and me, you and me, you and me. Now we make our promises, we won't break our word. We'll sing, sing, sing out our story till the truth is heard. There's a whole new generation, kids who dream of veneration, who were not wiped out by the 7th Cavalry. You and me, you and me. We were all wounded at Wounded Knee, you and me. We were all wounded at Wounded Knee, you and
autor viene a decirnos con mucha firmeza y gran convencimiento lo mismo que nos decía en el siglo XVIII el barón de Holbach, ¿no? Un filósofo francés de origen alemán. Si nos remontamos al comienzo, entonces hallaremos que la ignorancia y el temor crearon a los dioses. La fantasía, el entusiasmo o el engaño los adornaron o desfiguraron. La debilidad les rinde culto, la credulidad los conserva, la costumbre los respeta y la tiranía los apoya para que la ceguera de los hombres sirva a sus propios intereses.
Okay, I think it's working now. All right, let's see. So we got a couple people. I can get going. This is gonna be, I guess you could say, a combination of videos and some reading involved. I mean, I named the topic "No More Lies." I've been wanting to talk about this for a couple days already. And a brother had sent me some information a couple days back, took a picture of something, and then another brother posted something today, I believe. And it just made sense to run it. So I also did a class on this topic 2.5 years ago, and a lot of people missed it. I'm going to kind of show pieces, but I'm going to kind of do it different today. Hopefully you guys can catch on and get some education behind exactly what occurred and why this right here, right, this picture I'm about to show you, why this is actually, you know, an important topic to talk about. How Freemasons toppled the Mexican Empire. How Freemasons toppled the Mexican Empire. Now, a lot of you guys have no idea how involved these people were in these transactions or so-called sales of, or land mass thievery. You know what I mean? Like at that level. We're gonna get to know some things today. This is from here. I don't want to forget where I'm at. What page am I? 13 on PDF. It's part of the digital archive sobre la guerra de Texas, 1835, y la guerra de México, Estados Unidos between 1846 and 1848. Okay, on this page, and it's in Spanish, which I would have found it in English, but you know, obviously I didn't. But here, for you guys that are bilingual, I want to kind of read a few things here that our people had already been being warned about. We're very cautious about it, right? So this is regarding communications entre el Consulado Mexicano de New Orleans y el Ministerio de Relaciones Exteriores sobre la protesta de México ante el reconocimiento de la independencia de Texas por el gobierno norteamericano. So here we see that how Mexico was not at all accepting the independence of Texas. So you have the manipulation of the Anglo and the Saxon, you know, the mixed mutts, right? Obviously influencing these Tejanos, but these Tejanos weren't just like white folks. They were also Morenos, bro. You know what I mean? Morenos owned slaves as well. And they wanted to carry that all over Texas, which is why Mexico was getting bad at both of them. White and black slave owners, okay? So let's make that very clear. This isn't just about a certain color. This is about people and what they did. It says, la derrota y la aprehensión del presidente general Antonio López de Santa Ana en Texas. Protestas de México por el reconocimiento de Texas por los Estados Unidos de América. See, so here Mexico is protesting against the recognition of Texas becoming part of the state. So it wasn't. See, this is thievery. These are thieves. This is what you're talking about. A lot of people don't like these facts. They create facts. Watch Fox News. Depend on CNN. Go to the typical history channels, and they'll tell you how great supposedly this has been. What are they trying to celebrate this fucking year? 250 years of thievery? Is that what it is? I mean, technically, it's only after 1848 where officially you would become 51 fucking states. Prior to that, you weren't that. So when does exactly 250 begin? We're going to get into some heavy duty stuff in this particular topic here. All right? Now, I got a message for you guys, in case you guys forgot.
I know their names. I know where they've once worked. But I'll never tell you where they are. Does that bother you?
It bothers me, yes, that these are criminals that you are harboring.
They're not criminals. This is Latino land. This is Nuevo Mexico. We don't need your white man's permission to settle my land. We really don't.
Right, you can come here legally.
No, we don't. We don't have to come here legally, though.
Well, there are many of you who have already come here legally.
But But we don't care about the border. The border is made up. It's a made-up line. And you, Mr. Whitey, think you get to come here and tell Latinos, Chicanos, that Nuevo Mexico is off limits to Latinos because of this little border that you designed? No, I don't think so. That's not how it works. Like he said, it's Tiwa land, it's Dene land, it's Zuni land, it's Mascalero Apache land.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
No, this is Latino land. I'm allowed to keep making my point. There's a long line. People can wait. Where is this long line? Right behind
This is
me?
the first question.
And let's not forget that, again, a lot of this infiltration in foreign government has a lot to do with the infiltration of the criminal abuse, so to speak, because they looked at us as criminals. All right, let's not forget what they did this too.
Thousands of Mexicans were forced to take baths with gasoline at the U.S. border. The U.S. government forced them to strip, be sprayed with gasoline, and have their clothes fumigated for chemicals. The U.S. government said it was supposed to stop disease, but it became a way to humiliate and control brown bodies. Women and men were photographed. Some even died in the process of fumigation and being sprayed with kerosene and gasoline. But women began saying no. They refused the bath. But when Border Patrol agents began to force them, riots broke out, and the bridge between El Paso and Ciudad Juarez was shut down. And for 3 days, mostly women and men threw rocks, flipped trolleys, but most of all, demanded dignity. Soldiers eventually crushed the protest. The baths didn't end. Unfortunately, they continued for several decades after that. They even inspired the same chemical methods that were used by the Nazis in Germany. This was more than a protest. It was a warning of what happens when fear turns into policy.
And this is what I meant too. And I appreciate you, VTC, for this, man. This is first of all, educational, even in its simplest form, man. So let's read this real quick. Again, what was going on in 1917? What was going on in 1911? Not that many years apart, right? This is regarding Emiliano Zapata. He never wanted to be a revolutionary. What Emiliano Zapata wanted from the beginning to the end was something so simple it should never have required a war. For the people of Morales to keep the land their families had farmed for generations, right? The hacienda system that had consumed that land, absorbing village after village, turning free farmers into indentured workers to soil their grandparents, to unsoil their grandparents had owned, was the specific injustice that made Zapata pick up a rifle. Not ideology, not political ambition, land, corn, the right to feed your own family or familia from your own earth. Zapata's plan de Ayala issued in 1911 is one of the most radical and uncompromising documents in the history of Latin America political thought. It did not ask for reform. It demanded immediate restoration of stolen lands to the villages and indigenous communities from which they had been taken by force if necessary. Obviously, if you guys caught the initial part of the class, I put a song that was banned for a lot of years. Look it up. His famous declaration, la tierra es de quien la trabaja con sus manos. The land belongs to those who work it with their hands. It was not a slogan. It was a theological statement about the relationship between human beings and the earth that sustains them, rooted in centuries of indigenous Nahuatl understanding of land and communal inheritance rather than private commodity. The hacendados, and the politicians in Mexico City understood perfectly well what he was saying. That is exactly why they feared him. What is remarkable about Zapata's legacy is how precisely it named a contradiction that has never been fully resolved. Not in Mexico, not anywhere in the Americas, where colonial land systems displaced indigenous and campesino communities from the earth that fed them. He was assassinated in 1919, ambushed at the Hacienda de Chinameca by the forces loyal to Venustian Carranza, shot from his horse at the age of 39. But the corridos keep singing his name, the murals keep painting his face, and in 1994, 75 years after his death, a new generation of indigenous rebels in Chiapas named their movement after him. What does Emiliano Zapata's life mean to you, and what do you think he would make of Mexico today? I thought it was extremely important that you posted that, bro. Thank you very much, man. And that's a very insightful post, because technically a lot of us didn't really know. Now, a lot of us do, but we really didn't know why Zapata was fighting. We're starting to find out more and more, right? Remember, the topic is what? No more lies. What are those images? Those images of Freemasonry. We're going to show exactly how Freemasonry had a lot to do with the stolen mass of land that belonged to our people. All right, let's continue.
Oh, they all do this shit, and you're seeing shit in award shows and music, and the one eye, which, by the way, the symbol in Islam for the Antichrist is one eye. It's in your fucking face. It's the eye of Re, bro. The sun god, bro. And I would just tell people who don't understand what I'm saying, who might think I'm like off the wall. I don't take any drugs. I don't drink alcohol. I'm not crazy. Don't take what I'm saying. I'm just giving you some cliff notes from my life of what I believe is going on and what I think is going to happen. And I think what's coming for all of us, brother. I believe we're on the last days of this nation, bro. Now, whether it exists physically after whatever's going to happen, I do not know. I know that they want one system. I know they want it for the whole world. I know that the Antichrist can only rule if none of these countries have sovereignty. That he has to be the supreme being to rule the earth, control all money, all products, all stuff. I know blockchain can do that. I know it's terrifying. Once I understood crypto and blockchain and what could be coming for all of us, you guys better wake up. And if you're not feeling nothing, if you have no empathy, no empathic capabilities, it means your spiritual heart is dead. If you're watching things that are disturbing and it doesn't bother you, you've been desensitized. If you're watching things and you feel no emotion, your heart is dead, because when you kill what they call the third eye, your heart dies, your soul, you don't feel nothing. You're alive, but you're numb.
Everything is hidden in a plain sight. Words, signs, laws. It is in front of your eyes. If you want to understand it, to see how they enslave
Oh, this is fucking fantastic. All right, so check this out. It says here, Freemasons toppled the Second Mexican Empire by leading deliberate resistance against Emperor Maximilian and the French intervention. Led by prominent Mason and President Benito Juarez, Masonic networks unified the Republican forces. As you can see, these lodges provided safe space to organize anti-imperialist opposition, ultimately securing the empire's defeat of Maximilian's execution in 1867. So we know that without you having some kind of support of a group, you don't move up in like, for example, in jail. People don't move up on their own. You have to be part of a group, and that group lifts you up. Benito Juarez isn't the only one. Shit, AMLOS is also what's part of this. Now, did he do good for our people? Yeah, I guess. But to what extent can he? What limitations do these people have? And by the way, keep in mind that none of these people believe in Jesus. Okay, that character is Lucifer. And you need to understand why it's so important. It was so important for them to create that religion. When they have you by the huevos, manipulating you in this adherence to a so-called faith, blindly, without really exploring what this so-called faith means, where it came from, and what exactly is it that they're saying. I mean, do you guys even know why you're reading the Rosario? The Catholics, Christmas Christian Catholics, you guys go and pray to the dead. Do you guys even know why you're saying them those, so many times? Did you guys ever wonder why? Why do they call them 20 mysteries? Why would they call it misterios, bro? That shit's fucking crazy. But this is part of Freemasonry. How do you think they got control of you? Mexican Acquisition had a lot to do with Masonic movement. Make sure you understand that. That's definitely not a lie. Listen to this.
Ese es un mito.
¿Y eso cuándo fue?
1848.
Perdió la mitad del territorio nacional.
Pues más bien fue una guerra de despojo totalmente injusta. No es que alguien haya dicho, ay, vamos a perder, sino estaban en una campaña plenamente de expansión territorial, comprando o invadiendo. Los gringos querían ese territorio porque querían llegar al Pacífico, y salida por el Pacífico y salida por el Atlántico se les hizo fácil invadir, con un pretexto estúpido de que supuestamente en una línea fronteriza muy al norte se habían dado de tiros mexicanos y norteamericanos, pero estaban buscando un pretexto los gringos para entrar a México a quitarnos esa parte del territorio.
¿Quién vendió?
Very true. Very, very true, my friends. In case you don't know, we're going to get deep into it. I'm going to give you guys a little...
You do not mess with the United States of America.
No, hold on a second. I didn't even do this, dude. Dude. Hold on, family. What the hell is it? Get out of the way, bro. Get out of the way, bro. What is... Oh... Give me a second, family. Hold on. Man. See, and these idiots, these white folks, these dumb white folks, I'm going to call you that because you guys are. I'm just gonna call you for what you are because you're dumb. You don't realize what's going on here. You think you've been spoon fed for so long that you were some superior nation, and you weren't. You just had a couple wicked ass damn demons who worship devils, and that's how they got ahead. I'm gonna show you something real quick, family. This is from, I believe that's what I'm looking for. Is it this one? Let's see if it's this one. Hold on. Give me a second. I'm looking for it right now. Nope. Right here, I believe. Yes, this is it. All right, so let's get it started, man. Check this out. Let's learn a little bit here. Let's learn some history here, okay? Check this out. East Texas Historical Journal, a publication of East Texas Historical Association, the secret adversary, Henry George Ward, and Texas, 1825 to 1827. Remember what we read earlier regarding when the Bible was printed in 1810, right? Okay. We're going to start seeing a lot of these dates. But I want to show you something real quick. Let me read this for you. I'm going to read about a few, let me see how far. Yeah, a few pages so I can show you a little history. Very interesting how it all occurred. Check this out. It says, the years 1825 and 1827 were a period of salutary neglect in Texas history. Guadalupe Victoria, the first president of Mexico, believed so earnestly in a policy of non-intervention in state and colonial affairs that his government attempted little interference in the management of Stephen Austin. We don't know if he's white or swarthy, but we know that this bastard had a lot to do with the problems. And the other empresarios, you see this? None of the Texas colonists ever met their first president. These are white and black folks who live in Mexico, are allowed to be there as immigrants, illegals. No papers yet, mofos. Okay? You don't even know the president. It says, none of the Texas colonists ever met their first president. Any business pertaining to the colony was settled in in the state capital, Saltillo, not the national capital, Mexico City. The cliche, absence makes the heart grow fonder, may explain the fond memories that Texans have of their first president. Imperceptibly, an anti-Texas feeling began to blossom in the national capital, affecting Victoria himself to the point where the president decided to tighten the Mexican grip on Texas and limit the number of Anglo-American immigrants. Let me just say illegal immigrants, okay? So you white folks and black folks that were going to Texas right now, you're fucking illegals. That's what you are. I don't care if you guys get upset because I'm cussing right now, okay? I don't care anymore. I'm not going to cuss the whole time, by the way. I'm just saying. Look at this here. How many times, what did Trump say? You're murderers. You guys, we tame the country. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what do you guys don't care? Oh, I'm sorry. This is not the channel that only bashes white folks. Is this what you guys are bothered by? Because these are facts. What you want me to tell you? As they are styled, this decision had been characterized as the opening gambit in the match that led to the checkmate of San Jacinto. Historians have advanced numerous reasons for the change of the official attitude of Mexico to Stephen Austin. So when you see that stupid-ass wrestler, think about that. But none, so far as the writers are aware, has paid sufficient attention to the activities Henry George Ward, the British, charged the affairs in Mexico during the years 1825 and 1827. See, nobody talked about this guy and what was he trying to do? Let's continue. The son of Robin Plummer Ward, one of the most popular British nobilists of the period, a dedicated and able young careerist of 27, well-versed in Mexican and Latin American affairs. Backed by the mining interests of England, Henry George Ward was admirably equipped for his new position. He was directed by George Cannon, British Foreign Secretary, to achieve three objectives: to secure a treaty with Mexico, granting the most favored nation clause to England. Second, obtain religious toleration for British subjects in New Mexico. Third, protect and advance the commercial interests of British subjects, especially in the mining community. Okay? Follow me here. Ward, on his own initiative, intended to accomplish two other policies. First, he intended to be so successful that he would be appointed the first British minister to Mexico. And second, he intended to counteract and eliminate all vestige of American influence in Mexico. At the time being promoted by American Minister Joel Poinsett.
Gotcha, bitch.
But you're going to find out. Who is this mofo right here? Huh? Who is this guy?
Wait a minute. Who are you?
All right. The deadly mutually destructive rivalry between Poinsett and Ward can only be mentioned in passing, as it is a story of itself or in itself. Suffice to say, Ward held a number of trump cards. He was a personal friend of Victoria, the president, Guadalupe Victoria, and was only the envoy who had a weekly interview with the president. So this Ward from Britain had a pretty good pull with the president of Mexico. Check this out. Poinsett was handicapped because the U.S. wanted all the territory north of El Rio Grande. You see this in 1823. When did the war begin? 1846. When did it end? 1848. This is already being planned in 1820. Oh, I'm going to show you on Manfue. I'm going to show you that it started in 1810. We're going to go deep into this Freemasonry stuff too. British investments in British prestige. I'm sorry, hold on a second. Wanted all the territory north of Rio Grande, and he was constantly pressured to purchase Texas at any price. British investment. See? So Mexico wasn't going to sell Texas. So what do Anglos typically do? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. What do people of this country here typically do when they don't get what they want? They cheat, lie, and steal. Black and white. You are what you are. Anyhow, let's continue. It says here, and see, but family, this is why I'm not slicing them separately. You guys like to. No. They came together. Black and white conquistadors came to this land in 1492, and they're still doing it on y'all. And you're just stupid. You're just dumb. You want to be liked instead of learning your history. British investments in British prestige considerably exceeded those of the United States and Latin America. You see that? Britain had a much more investment opportunity for Mexico. We don't know what could have happened, but I'm telling you some history here. And Mexico and Colombia wanted to launch a joint naval expedition against the Spanish-held island of Cuba. Once again, Mexico and Colombia are talking again. But, that's another topic. Cuba, which was a very real threat to the new Latin American republics. But the U.S. policy, January 25, and self-interest dictated that Cuba be retained by weak Spain. You see that? So they interfered in the way of Mexico and Colombia. Hence, President John Quincy Adams had opposed joint intervention, a decision which irked both Simon Bolivar and Guadalupe Victoria. You understand these things? Why these white folks in America, if they say they're so superior, why are they stopping us at every game to get better? You got to start asking yourselves that question. Why did they keep the Bible away from you, raza? You got to start asking yourself that question. Why the hell all of a sudden white folks want to be like us, or they want us to be them, or they want us to be the same tribe? You got to ask yourself that damn question. Within a matter of days after his arrival in Mexico in 1825, remember the year? Remember the war started in 1846, ended 1848. They took the whole land, right? 1825, Ward realized that the elimination of Stephen Austin's colony in Texas and the substitution of the British colony headed by General Arthur Tyrrell, or an Indian confederation led by pro-British chief would, as Ward wrote, effectively eliminate all the chances of the Americans obtaining control of the Gulf of Mexico area. To that goal, he bent all his considerable skills and efforts. From the very beginning of Anglo-American colonization in Texas, Mexican governments, both imperial and republican, had insisted that all immigrants become Roman Catholics. You see this? They were telling the gringos. So don't go by Anglo thinking they're white, because we see white folks that they're supposedly they're white, but they're not. They're actually fucking like negros and shit. I'm sorry to say, but you know what I'm saying? I'll give you an example. For example, these guys right here. What's his name? This guy right here. Right here. You see this right here, family? This guy's right here. These guys are
a true story. I was 21 years of age. This is not long ago. 21 years of age. Yesterday was my birthday.
Years of age. Oh my God. Totally fine. Yeah. Whatever. Look, family, these are not white folks. Their dad is black. If you believe in the Bible, then you know that this is of the seed, right? You telling me these are widows? But you know what? When they come from a foreign land, you
in my car.
Right?
And you couldn't ever eat anyone's leftover food if they ever had their mouth on.
Think about that. Think about them getting off think about them 1492 coming over here, bro. What are you going to say? You think they're going to look African? You think they're going to say, oh, they're Africans? No, they're going to say they're fucking white. Esta gente es negra, hermanos. El papá de ellos son negros. Y la mamá es güera. Start waking up. From the very beginning of Anglo-American colonization in Texas, Mexican government, both imperial and republican, had insisted that all immigrants, you beaners, you damn illegal aliens, white folks, this is what you guys are, illegal aliens. So shut your asses up. And that no settler be permitted within 20 leagues of the sea. Ward found both these restrictions adverse to the interests he represented. Therefore, one of his duties was to persuade the government to enforce the loosely administered law in the American settlements in Texas. You see, Mexico wasn't trying to make you guys Like, hey, you know, you got to be like, you guys, you better assimilate, you beaners. Oh, we're going to shoot you guys at the border because you don't assimilate. Yo, why don't you guys go back to your country, huh? What's his name? The stupid ass dude with the funky ears and shit. He thinks he's MMA greatest. He's not. He's a dumbass. He's lost his mindset. And didn't they tell us to go back to your country while you're here? Isn't it the same thing? The same thing. And ignored it whenever it was pertained to the British settlers. Let me continue. Ward was also confronted with the fanaticism of the small-town Mexican. This was a two-edged weapon which Ward, to give him credit, hated to employ. Nonetheless, while Ward hoped that tolerance would replace his fanaticism, he would not want the national government to be tolerant of Texans. You see this? He's like, yo, listen, don't trust these people. Why? Here's why. When an unknown cowboy, very likely a Texan, came to Mexico City, demonstrating a secret trick to break the most refractory horses, he was also lynched as a sorcerer. Ward did nothing to help him. Indeed, Ward appears to have inflamed deliberately the national government against both Texans and Americans, promising, as he had told Cannon, to make sure his influence would be used only in secret. Now we're going to go deep into this, and here's the actual best part. Ward wrote Cannon a letter in September 1825, enclosing a manuscript of a map of Texas showing Sabine River as the present United States boundaries, which eliminated the shadowy claim of the Americans to the Rio Grande. He mentioned that the Americans, you mean the illegals, right? The ones that are calling us illegals. Yeah. Estos gringos, estos pinches gringos, right? These illegal Europeans were still pushing their claim to the Rio Bravo and offering to pay Mexico for additional territory. To make matters worse for the Mexicans, they had not enforced their authority in the area between Sabine and the Rio Bravo. You're going to find out why pretty soon. As a result, American settlers, backwoodsmen, lawless and scornful of all restraint. Oh, I see. But you call us savages. Let's continue. You so-called Christians, right? You Christmas Christians. This is who you guys are. American Christmas Christian settlers, backwoodsmen, lawless and scornful of all restraint, like the Old West, where you had your daughters do some funny stuff to the dads. Yeah, I heard about that. Were pouring in. 6,000 families were there already, pretending to recognize the authority of Mexico. But everyone knew that in case of a rupture between the U.S. and Mexico, these bad subjects and inconvenient neighbors would side with the former. And then you're kind of wondering if we're going to do that to you, huh?
Bruh.
Here's the best part. Ward reported that he had already warned Victoria and his cabinet member, Jose Ignacio Esteban. Who the hell is this guy? We're going to find out. Jorge Ignacio Esteban and Lucas Alaman. But Esteban had retorted that the Texans were all good Catholics and couldn't be trusted. That's what he said, right? Why would Ignacio Esteban say that? Ward scoffed at this naive statement, like, you stupid, retorting to the American backwoodsmen, as everyone knew, had no particular religion. Damn paganists, and their creed would be affected by circumstances. Furthermore, these interlopers, damn rapists, murderers, and God knows what else you are. Oh, that's right, you're terrorists. You're right-wing terrorists, right? That's what you are. Exactly, the ones that don't wipe their butts. Furthermore, these interlopers would practice smuggling. What? Bro, do you see the family? They're projecting all the time. They're calling you names and they're projecting who they are. Hence, if Mexico thought she was gaining any real advantage from these people, she was wrong. So we see now a lot. But the question is this. Who's that guy right there? Well, I'm going to show you something, family. In this channel, we've been talking about Freemasonry. You know what I'm saying? We've been kind of talking about particular things and how some people are part of the group, right? All right, check this out, fam. Remember, this is from the book that I have. It's called The New and Revised Edition and Encyclopedia of Freemasonry, and it's Kindred Science. Okay, I'll take you here real quick. Check this out. It's gonna blow your mind. You remember the guy's name? Jose Esteban, right? Okay. Check this out. All right, hold on. Relax, Turbo. Hey, relax. Okay, that's it. Check this out, family. Remember what it says here. Ward reported that he had already warned Victoria and his cabinet member, Jose Ignacio Esteva. But Esteva retorted that the Texans were all good Catholics. They're all good Catholics, Holmes, and they could be trusted, eh? Pendejo. No, not really, family. He knew what was up. Check this out. Masonry, Mexico, was introduced in Mexico in the Scottish Rites sometime prior to 1810. Holy shit. Remember the Lutheran newsletter in 1900, right? That it said that in between 1539 and 1810, there was no printing involved. But all of a sudden now, there's some changes. Well, here we go. Sometime prior to 1810, by the civil and military officers of Spain. So we understand now these Spaniards, okay, these Latinos, which some of you guys think they're your people, y'all stupid. And no, we're not Sephardic, dumbass. By the civil and military officers of Spain, but the exact period of its introduction is unknown. Okay, so here we go. The first work charters were granted for a lodge at Veracruz in 1816. Here we go. 1. And 1 in Campeche, 1817. 2. By the Grand Lodge of Louisiana, followed by the charter of the Lodge of Veracruz, 1823. 3. By the City Grand Lodge of New York, and 1 by the same city in 1824 from the Grand Lodge of Pennsylvania. 4. February 10th, 1826, 5 charters were granted for lodges in the city of Mexico by the Country Grand Lodge of New York. Country, meaning in parentheses, somebody in power. On the recommendation of Joel Poinsett. What? You see, that name came up again, but it's not even over yet. Past Deputy Grand Master of South Carolina. At that time, United States Minister to Mexico, who constituted the lodge and organized them into a Grand Lodge with Jose Ignacio Esteva as Grand Master. Bruh. For real? As Grand Master. So this guy here, a cabinet member of the President of Mexico, Ward told him, listen, these fools are going to turn on you. And he said, oh no, they're good Catholics. They're people to be trusted. Really? You can trust these damn heathens? This guy here that soils on his diaper, you can trust someone like him? His dad was a German. What are you talking about? I mean, I don't understand at what point are we really going to accept these things? This guy right here?
They 100%. Do I need media, the liberal press media?
Is he Chinese? He's got a f***ing umbrella. Is he Chinese?
Oh, my puppy also.
Parasol, Junior. Oh, parasol. Sorry.
Let's own
I'm
together.
Swedish, bro. I get.
Let's.
Oh, you're Swedish? You're white? The entire country knows this is nonsense. What did he say? And I cannot wait for the day that we win. We will. We're white. We're white. We're white. The entire country knows this is nonsense. What did he say? And I cannot wait for the day that we win. We will. We're white. We're white. We're white. The entire country.
Jesus the Lord. God. Thank you. Bible, Holy Bible. Yeah. Jesus. We need you. You need you. God, we need you.
Welcome to another day in paradise, okay? I'd like to testify. In fact, I always testify. I've never not once not testified. It's a mistrial, okay? I missed most of it. I was resting my eyes, okay? They got nothing, and every legal expert says so. You got Jonathan Turner, very respect. He says Trump is innocent. And anyway, probably Stormy liked it. You got Janine, the Dersh, Saul Goodman, Ally McBeal, the Lincoln lawyer. And you got Storm and Norman. She says, I banged her in the missionaries. Fake. She's more like Fort Knox in there. No one can get in for 3 blocks. Buttoned up tighter than Tom Fitton. You can't prove it, so none of it happened. But if it did, yeah. But if it did, she came up to me with tears in her eyes and she says, "Sir, you have to be the most virile golf champion since Dorfon Golf." And now she's saying it was over very quickly, which, by the way, totally fake, okay? In fact, she faked the entire thing very quickly. No, I don't think so. They don't call me the 3-term president for nothing, if you catch me.
That was too funny, man. Oh, shoot. Hey, I forgot about that last part. He said, the Lincoln lawyer, Ally McBeal, she was talking about. That was a show, bro. That was a show. I mean, it's funny, but it's not funny because, quite frankly, this is deeper than it gets. You see, we did not know that ever since this time, these Freemasons were involved, and this Freemason here is the cabinet member for Mexico when it came time to protect this particular region. So now do you understand how important it is to consider facts? This is actually a good link here. For the first time in digital format through the internet, documents for the study of relations between Mexico and the United States that are under custody of the General Estrada Historical Archives or Diplomatic Historical Archives of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Mexico. These are 51 books that contain data, details, and circumstances that reveal in light of the correspondence between the protagonists and key figures who participated in 2 historical events that changed the territory, foreign relations, and the economy of Mexico and its neighbors. During the first half of the 19th century, the Texas War of 1835 and the Mexican-American War of 1846. So you see that this here gets really into the details as to what occurred. That's why I had found that information out. But see, I wouldn't have known if I wouldn't read. And that's why it's your job, our job, to make sure that we study these things. Because if we don't, then guess what? You're not going to realize who was part of this game. I'll give you an example. Let me see this real quick.
Go back to your own.
Here, right here. All right. Let's continue. Let's continue because we're moving. Hold on. No, don't move. Check this out. So we see this here, right? We heard about this. Let's go.
Country.
What else? Come on. See?
Yeah, go back to Mexico.
You know, my very first video on this account was in response to this type of behavior. And in that video, I stated this, that the difference between indigenous people of these lands and foreigners is that your ancestors either met the boat or they came over on it. Now, I know that rubbed more than a few people the wrong way, but not a single person has been able to dispute that one basic truth. And to that truth, I'd like to add one more. Now, this applies whether you're first-generation immigrant or 25th generation, whether your family came over on the Mayflower or wrote the Declaration of Independence itself. On behalf of my ancestors and the indigenous blood that runs through my veins, as long as there is one single drop of indigenous blood on these lands, you, your ancestors, and your descendants to that blood, you will always be foreign. I did not stutter.
That's right, brother. That is so true, bro. Let's continue. Because if you really think about who's involved in this here, now we know that who had something to do with this particular fire here. Jose Ignacio Esteva, the Grand Master, a Masonic body, both New York and Scottish rites, however, soon degenerated into the rival politics club and bitter functionalism became so strong that in 1833, the authority issued an edict suppressing all secret societies. The bodies met, however, secretly in about 1834. The National Mexican Rights was organized in 9 degrees. So again, remember, family, look, this is from Park Ethnography Program, African Explorers of Spanish America. The first Africans from Spain were known as Ladinos, Sephardic, so to speak, or Hispanizados Africans, and were soldiers, servants, and settlers and slaves. Soldiers, servants, settlers, and indentured servants. Rephrase that. They began to arrive in America as early as 15th century, many as auxiliaries to the Spanish and Portuguese explorers, meaning help. Matthew Bristol states, from the very first onset of Spanish activity in America, Africans were both present in voluntary expeditions and involuntary colonists. Many people of African descent initially saw the passage of the New World as a means of bettering their social and economic positions. You see this. Given their numbers and roles in Spanish port cities like Seville and in their generally depressed economic conditions, it is not surprising that both free and enslaved Africans hope to improve their lots by crossing the Atlantic in early voyages of exploration and conquest. You have to know the truth, because these are facts. African men and women are part of the number of Spanish expeditions. The Pamphilo de Narvaez, a black conquistador who you can find in the Dogs of Conquest, who used dogs against our gente. I think this is important right now because you have to understand what that means. Pamphilo de Narvaez expedition of 1528 from Cuba to Florida is one such example. If you read the book called the Dogs of Conquest, you're going to understand what that means. Okay? It's going to make sense to you, because once you get the book or download the book or go on the what do you call it? Archives.org, you'll see what this means. Let's go. That sink in. Do not ever forget that ever. African men and women were part of the number of Spanish expeditions. The Pamphilo de Narvaez expedition of 1528 from Cuba to Florida is one example. As you can see, family, and again, every now and then I'll look at it, but this is where you got people being very offended. This is where they actually get offended. I don't like what you're saying. Oh, well, you don't like truth. This expedition included Esteban, perhaps the most notable African male to aid the exploration of North Africa. Juan Guerrido, just example. Esteban, the black man. Conquistadors, militant men. These are the routes that they took. You see this here? You see that big dude right there? Look at that big dude right there, family. He's as big as a horse. This football player, this 6'7" dude. He's sitting on a horse, and the guy's almost as tall as the actual Spaniard. See what I mean? They're coming with armor. We're not. You need to know your history, because this is not just a one-sided affair. There is something called black nobility. The majority of black slave owners were members of the mulatto class, and in some cases were the sons and daughters of white slave masters. Many of the mulatto slave owners separated themselves from the masses of black people and attempted to establish a caste system based on color, wealth, and free status. According to Martin Delina, the colored community of Charleston City clung to the assumption of the superiority of white blood and brown skin complexion. Why do you think they're trying to say they're the people of this land? These mulattoes of the old free black elite did not attend church with dark-skinned blacks of Charleston City. They not only formed congregations which excluded freed men of dark complexion, but they also married among other mulattoes to keep the color in the family. Large number of free blacks owned black slaves and numbers of large number of free blacks owned black slaves in numbers disproportionate to their representation in society. According to the federal census, which I showed you the book, free blacks own more than 10,000 slaves in Louisiana. Hold on, let me say that again. Maryland, South Carolina, and Virginia. The majority of black slave owners lived in Louisiana, planted sugar canes. You still believe you're from this land? Or you still believe you're the people of the book? No. Stop the cap. Because we know now how they took nations, like Psalms 83 said, to take over this land. And now we see that even in this, this masonry thing has a very deep root. This is the reason why some of you guys don't understand what these books are saying. This is a Harold Wallace Rosenthal interview. Look what he says. Okay? Check this out. I'm going to read a few things and then I'm going to read a statement. This book, it contains a text of most revealing and shocking interviews of a Jew by the name of Harold Rosenthal, which was conducted in 1976 by a concerned patriot, a Walter White. And Rosenthal, an influential Jew, learned the Jewish ways, involved the working of the government in Washington, D.C., explained the Jewish involvement and cause of major problems we face today. He says, Rosenthal, in exposing certain aspects of inner invisible world of Jewry, revealed the modes and tactics Jews use as in destroying Christian civilization and covertly attaining control of our lives and governments. That's what that other guy was saying. That is a so-called Jewish person. That scientist that says they're going to control the minds. And this is what I'm saying, family. When you start listening to this esoteric teachings, you're opening your spirit to be governed by those particular things. The result has been hidden tyranny upon us, like the tyranny waged against the saints by the red beast system of revelation referred to the mystery Babylon. Let me read this real quick. This is interesting. Luke 16:8 says, for the children of this world are in their generation wiser than the children of light, which we see. Why do you think those guys are trying to come up with computer systems that can manipulate your thought process? You see, it's interesting. Watch what this says. In a highly confidential interview with a Jewish administrative assistant, one of his nation's ranking senators, he said, it is a marvel that the American people do not rise up and drive every Jew out of his country. The Jew, Mr. Harold Wallace Rosenthal, made the statement after admitting Jewish dominance in all significant national governments. He said, we Jews continue to be amazed with the ease by which Christian Americans have fallen into our hands. While the naive Americans wait for Khrushchev to bury them, some Russian, we have taught them to submit to our every demand. Ask how a nation could be captured without knowing it. Rosenthal attributed this victory to absolute control of the media. He boasted of Jewish control over all news. Any newspaper which refused to acquiesce to control the news was brought to its knees by withdrawing advertisement, meaning through money. You see this here. You see this here. It's an interesting thing. He says, and I quote, the hidden tyranny. Most Jews do not like to admit it, but our God is Lucifer.
Are you?
Let's kind of finish this out real quick.
Even while he was still alive, his wisdom reached across continents. The earliest Egyptians named him the scribe of the gods. He was deified by the Greeks as the god of wisdom. The ancient Romans named him Mercury. Hermes discovered alchemy, which developed into chemistry. He created the concept of astrology, which became astronomy. For his wisdom, he is known as the Master of Masters. The Kabbalion is premised on the theory that there is an intelligent, thinking substance that pervades all space and time. Even while
That's the thinking that I'm talking about, family. You see, this is the teachings that are going on right now through Buddhism and yoga and all these self-healing, meditation, frequency sounds. You know, like the dude 432 drop, hey, yahoo, or whatever the fuck is whatever he says. We're seeing this teaching. And you see, when you open yourself up to this type of teaching, now I understand why that scientist said, there's no God. We can control you now. Because if you are not saturated with the word, what are you going to be saturated and controlled by? If your spirit is independent from your brain, imagine how, like I said, your brain is like a computer. You can be manipulated, which is why you have to guard it. This helmet of salvation. It's not a joke. This is serious stuff. Listen to this again.
While he was still alive, his wisdom reached across continents. The earliest Egyptians named him the scribe of the gods. He was deified by the Greeks as the god of wisdom. The ancient Romans named him Mercury. Hermes discovered alchemy, which developed into chemistry. He created the concept of astrology, which became astronomy. For his wisdom, he is known as the Master of Masters. The Kabbalion is premised on the theory that there is an intelligent, thinking substance that
Master of Masters. I found that so interesting. Remember the class I did on the who Saint Germain is? Remember that? Check this out.
1845, a mysterious man was arrested in London and charged with spying. He called himself the Count of Saint Germain. And for almost 200 years, the Count of Saint Germain was present at every significant political event in the world and always looked the same age. Some say he walked the earth during the time of Christ. Some say he walks the earth still. This is his story. 1845 was a difficult time in England. The Jacobites, propped up by the French monarchy, had seized Edinburgh that summer. England was capturing, imprisoning, and executing spies everywhere. The man who called himself the Count of Saint Germain was arrested in a coffee shop under suspicion of espionage and was taken in for questioning. The Count's captors quickly learned that he was fluent in every European language and other languages from around the world. Still, he wouldn't tell them where he was from or what his name was. Horace Walpole, the Prime Minister's son, wrote that Saint Germain could sing, compose, and play the violin so well that one would have thought he was a famous musician. Though he appeared about 45 years old, nobody had seen him before. While in custody, he gave details about historical events that only an eyewitness would know. Saint Germain's jailers found him extremely odd. And during this time of rebellion, foreigners in England were imprisoned simply for being foreign. Yet somehow, without giving his real name, age, or place of birth, the Count of Saint Germain was set free. Saint Germain's secret documents, she actually had a copy of a memoir written a few years earlier. And the memoir didn't contain mystical knowledge, just biographical information and stories about a charming man who was good at talking people's ears off. Eventually, Blavatsky was exposed as a fraud by a whistleblower in her movement. But plenty of occultists were fans of the Count. Look, maybe Guy Ballard really did meet Saint Germain on Mount Shasta. I don't know, I wasn't there. But I do know that Ballard plagiarized a lot of his material from science fiction books and was found guilty of fraud, so you be the judge.
So what do we know?
Yeah, so check this out, family. I found this very interesting because yes, you're right. You're right regarding the Canaanite god. I'm gonna show you this real quick. Excuse me. Here it goes right here. Hold on. Here it goes right here. So we know of this here. We know of that, right? We know of that right there. Regarding the Canaanite, the Pharaoh, the king of Babylon, Judea, Roman, Vatican, Templar, Khazars, Switzerland, Masons, Illuminati, Jesuits, USA. So this is basically considered the Sephiroth, and this is where they get the teachings of thought. I'm telling you, family, it's all Talmudic, Kabbalist, Torah build up, very wicked as hell. Now, I find it so interesting because it looks like this. Check this out. Remember he mentioned alchemy, right? The god of Thoth. Okay. Well, that's why y'all need to be careful. These people that supposedly they believe in Kemet. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, you're right. This is wicked as hell. That's why you got to be mindful. You see the Sephiroth right there? I'm telling you. Check this out. I'm telling you right now. Check this out. See, this is distinction. These are paths of so-called wisdom that they want you to understand. You see this here? The concept of man, and now we see this here. Boom, boom. Look at that. Let me save this. Hold on a second. Egyptian tree of life. Because that's what it is. Egyptian tree of life. So check this out. Look at this right here. See? Now look at this right here. Ein Sof. Remember, brothers, I told you that in the Kabbalah, the actual book, this right here, I showed you in this book, it talks. Hold on. Oh, okay, you're getting a little intense for this, huh? You're getting a little intense for this. The background went blank. Give me a second. Let me fix this. Hold on. Here it goes. Weird, but it's all good. It's all good. You're not going to confuse me, bro. I know you're trying to be demonish. I know you're trying to be demonish. Demonish. Check this out. It goes right there. I showed you guys this before. Here it goes right here. You see this? That is the Sephiroth. Okay. And it stands for Ein Sof. Okay. So you can actually see it right here. If you go to the because it's alphabetically. Let's see. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, A, B, C, D, E. Where are you? H, I. Here it goes. Ein Sof. This does cover on. It's probably going to try to hide from me. Nah, I'll find it. Check it. I may not be able to find it, so let me do what I typically do. I'm just going to go here. Stick to the point, because I cannot. Here it goes right here. Okay, so we see that this is the Kabbalah. This is where the origin of Kabbalah. We just checked it out right now. You see? Ein Sof. That's what they call this name. The Tetragrammaton is what they call it. Okay? Here goes. I think it's up here. Oh, there it goes. You see this? The Supreme Being says the Kabbalist is an absolute and an inscrutable unity, having nothing without him and everything within him. He is called Ein Sof, the infinite one. Ein Sof, limitless, the crown, light. Check this out. Archdevil, Satan, Kether, God, name, enlighten. I'll be like the Most High. I will ascend myself as the stars. The 12th path, the magician, the intelligence of transparency, which means what? If you believe in this stuff, if this is engraved in you and you think you are your own, and you really believe in that particular type of spirit, guess what, man? You're going to be manipulated. And I'm telling you right now that this is what they consider doing. And now I understand why we're dealing with principalities, powers, rulers of darkness, people in government. Archive devil. That's why they call it evolution, evil solution. There's no evolution. The Lord of the house of God. Look at this. Annie Booth. What are you talking about? Look at this. Malkuth. Nahima. You see? You see this right here? Demon. Now, how similar is this to this? Now you understand how deep the rabbit hole is, family. Ein Sof, the supreme being, the Kabbalist concept. And this is what a lot of you actually believe in, and you don't even know it. This is what Saint Germain teaches also. The concept of Sophia, this is all part of it. Why do you think I showed you this video? It's important. These things matter, man. Look at this. Now hopefully, this video makes more sense.
One of the features of this fourth industrial revolution is that it doesn't change what we are doing, but it changes us.
The difference of this fourth industrial revolution is it doesn't change what you are doing. It changes you. If you take genetic editing, right. Just as an example, it's you who are changed. Yeah, and of course, this has a big impact on your identity.
Yeah. And offers certain kinds of possibilities that have to be careful about. You know, when you began to do that kind of gene editing, some people worry that you are changing what it means to be human.
That's the problem. Of course, the new industrial revolution offers us many opportunities, but it raises manifold questions on the ethical, but even legal implications. And we have to be prepared for it, and that's what we want to do in Davos next year.
Talk about technology and how the ways it can be deployed, that contribute to growth rather than exacerbate unemployment. How will that implement itself?
It's a big question mark, because there is a fear that technology, robots, just to take one.
Yeah, you gain productivity from machines.
Exactly, and it replaces maybe the workforce or jobs faster than we can replace them.
Humans are now hackable animals.
Let that sink in for a moment. Humans are hackable animals. What does the Talmud say? What does the Mishnah say? It's in here too. In case you don't know, let's look for it real quick. Check this out. Check. Oh, you're gonna play games with me now, huh? Okay, I see. Yeah, I can see a little bit of issues going on in the back end here, but it's okay. Check this out, family. Let's get a little idea of what this Talmud is. That's why when people say certain people are your people, and you're like, well, they study this shit. What are you talking about? How in the world could they be the people of the book, succeed and be on the right side with the Most High, if they're over here teaching all this stuff that has nothing to do with the Bible? They created their own books, their own understanding, their own teachings. The Talmud, the Mishnah, the Zohar. And you're nah, bro. You can be that shit. You are, not me. And if that don't make me a Hebrew, then it don't make me one, bro. And I'm good with that. Check this out, fam. What is the understanding of this book here? Talmud, Hebrew, signifying doctrine. The Jews say that Moses received on Mount Sinai not only the written law, which is contained in the Pentateuch, but an oral law, which was first communicated by him to Aaron. Then by them to the 70 elders, and finally by these people, and thus transmitted by memory from generation to generation. Supposedly oral law. This oral law was never committed to writing until about the beginning of the 3rd century. What a coincidence, right? When Rabbi Yehuda, the holy, finding that there were a possibility of it being laws from the decrees of the student of law, collected all the traditional laws into one book and called it the Mishnah, a word signifying repetition, because it is, as it were, a repetition of the written law. Then the Mishnah was once received with great veneration, blah, 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 blah. We see this here. The Talmud, right, was not written from the get-go. this, what I believe, and at least from my understanding or findings, is that this is the Babylonian teachings of Zoroastrianism. That's where it comes from, family. That's what I'm noticing regarding how they're dividing the actual explanations. They all base it on mathematics. They think that they're going to understand the Most High based on mathematics, which is based human intellect. We understand this, that it doesn't work that way. Let's continue. Remember, you're the animals.
Now hackable animals. You know, the whole idea that humans have, you know, this, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over. Free will, that's over.
That's over.
Over. Today, we have the technology to hack human beings on a massive scale. Yeah, I mean, everything is being digitalized. Everything is being monitored. In this time of crisis, you have to follow science. It's often said that you should never allow a good crisis to go to waste, because a crisis is an opportunity to also do good reforms that in normal times people will never agree to. But in a crisis, you see, we have no chance. So let's do it.
Vaccine won't help us go
the
to
vaccine
the test, of course.
will help us, of course. It will make things, you know, more manageable. Surveillance. People could look back in 100 years and identify the coronavirus epidemic as the moment when a new regime of surveillance took over, especially surveillance under the skin, which I think is maybe the most important development of the 21st century, is this ability to hack human beings, to go under the skin, collect biometric data, analyze it, and understand people better than they understand themselves. This, I believe, is maybe the most important event of the 21st century. So does the data about my DNA, my brain, my body, my life...
Now, what the question is this: why does he have that picture in the back? I mean, I'm asking that question. I'm going to read this in the meantime. Humans are hackable animals. That's why they refer to herd immunization during that jab distribution, thus calling us the sheeps. Farm animals equals pharma animals. Pharma. Remember that scripture? Pharmasuka. What is it? Revelation 18, I believe. Pharmakia. They call it, right? And through their pharmakia, I think it's this one. To their enchantments, they call it. I cannot remember. If you guys know the scripture, please, by all means, let me know. But again, why do they have this picture up here? Let me show you something. This is interesting. Okay, this is from that book I was showing you earlier. All right, here it goes. All right, hold on a second. I don't want to lose the page. Page 8. Okay, let me show you something. Harold Wallace Rosenthal interview, 1976. All right, we're going to go to page 8. Check this out. It says here, we have castrated society through fear and intimidation. Its manhood exists only in combination with a feminine outward appearance. Isn't that what they're doing now? Androgynous concepts. Being so neutered, the populace has become docile and easily ruled. As all geldings in nature, their thoughts are not involved with the concerns of future or their prosperity, but only with the present toil and next meal. Think about that for a moment. Let me go to page 2 real quick. Where are you at? Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Is it in here? Yep. Hold on a second here. There it goes. Here it goes. Right here. Check this out. This is what I didn't read at the end. And I should have. It says here, where are you at? This, hold on a second. This submission. Is it in here? Give me a second, family. Not in here. Okay, maybe it's on this page. Is it different? Oh, yeah, it is. Okay, page 2. Check this out. So let me go into the... Where is it at? Give me a second. Let me find it here real quick. Okay, here it goes right here, okay? The Jew, Mr. Harold Wallace Rosenthal, made this statement after admitting Jewish dominance in all significant national programs. He said, we Jews continue to be amazed with ease which Christian Americans have fallen into our hands, while the naive Americans wait for Khrushchev to bury them, taught them to submit to our every command. You see, while the naive Americans wait for Khrushchev to bury them, taught them to submit to every command. This submission must be made possible. The gradual adoption of Talmudic concepts as being Christian. Gotcha, bitch. I told you. That's why you guys need to be mindful, thus producing a Jewry society. And it is what Rabbi Martin Siegel calls the Judaization of Christianity. Family, do not be fooled. This is literally going on right now. And people are complaining. Well, guess what? Don't feel sorry for them, because we've been getting this shit for years. They're just trying to figure it out now. Revelation 18:33. Thank you, sis. Revelation 18:23. And it says, and the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in you, and the voice of the bridegroom and all the bride shall be heard no more at all in you. For your merchants were the great men of the earth, for by your sorceries were all nations deceived. By your sorceries, right? Verse 23. Let me see what it says here. By your, hold on, move out the way, yo. By your pharmakia. Let's continue.
Does it belong to me, or to some corporation, or to the government, or perhaps to the human collective?
Now, I'm going to show you something that some of you guys probably would not accept. I know that this person was liked a lot. I did too, like him. But then you got to do what you got to do to bring it out, family.
¿Por qué AMLO?
You got to do what you got to do to bring it out, family. This is about this guy here. Let's go.
Dice, viva la fraternidad universal en sus gritos de independencia. ¿A qué se refiere? Mucho se puede especular sobre a quién o quiénes le dedica AMLO ese viva. Incluso hay quienes lo relacionan directamente con sociedades iniciáticas como la masonería.
Manuel Jiménez Guzmán, soberano, gran comendador del Supremo Consejo del Rito Escocés Antiguo de México. Y
hizo la viva el presidente a la Gran Fraternidad Universal, le tupieron de que era masón.
Es masón, se inició la logia, tengo entendido, por la Gran Logia de Tabasco, Restauración.
Ok.
Yo llevé una excelente relación con el señor presidente López Obrador cuando fui ya por tercera vez diputado local, antes asambleísta, y el jefe de gobierno.
Ok.
Hacemos una reunión masónica que no puede negarse, está grabada ahí mismo, en el Salón Juárez del gobierno de la ciudad.
Okay.
Y le entregamos una espada flamígera, que es la espada de la virtud, del poder que castiga o que premia.
Okay, now you heard him say la flaming sword, they call it. Bro, it blew my mind when I read that. The flaming sword, they call it. Give me a second. Is it flaming, I believe? Where's it at? There it goes. You see this? Let me play it again because he said it. Okay, let's listen to it again.
Del gobierno de la ciudad.
Okay.
Y le entregamos una espada flamígera.
He says that que le entregaron una espada flamígera, a flaming sword. So it says here that a flaming sword whose blade is of a spiral or twisted form is called by the heralds a flaming sword. Now, I want to show this to you. Not for any particular reason, but I find it so funny that this would be of a particular topic. I want to show you this real quick. This is from the Mysteries of the Mexican Pyramids. And here we see like a type of, I don't know, but that's what they mean the sword is like. It's swirling like that. It's spiraling around, and that looks kind of like the sword that they're talking about, except it's not like just smooth. It's got shapes on every corner. Here, sharpness. Here it goes. A sword whose blade is of a spiral or twisted form is called by the heralds a flaming sword, like a snake, for its resemblance to the ascending curvature of a flame of fire. Until very recently, this was the form of a Tyler's sword. Careless and ignorance has now in many lodges substituted it for a common sword of any form. The flaming sword of the tiller refers to the flaming sword which guarded the entrance to paradise, as described by Genesis 3:24. Let's read that real quick, in case you guys don't know. Genesis 3:24. And let's read it in the Sefer 3:24, and it reads, So he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the garden Eden cherubims and a flaming sword, which turned away the guard of the way of the tree of life. Gotcha, bitch. Do you see what I'm saying? There's some deepness in this. So he drove out the man, and he placed the east of the garden of Eden cherubims and a flaming sword, which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. And as Rafal has translated it, the flaming sword which revolveth to guard the way of the tree of life. Its former times where symbols and ceremonies were more respected than they are now, when collars were worn, and not ribbons in the buttonholes, and when the standing column of the senior warden and a recumbent one of the junior during the labor to be reversed during refreshments were deemed necessary for the complete furniture of the lodge. The cavalry sword was unknown as a Masonic implement, and the tillers always bore a flaming sword. It were better if he could get back the old custom, which again we see it right here.
Okay.
Que es la espada de la virtud, del poder que castiga o que premia, y que solo el jefe de la masonería puede mantenerla. Y está en el libro de la ley. La espada flamígera tiene un significado. Entramos a su oficina y dijo, esta espada estará en mi credenza, para que siempre recuerde que soy liberal.
Es una secta secreta que ha sido sin duda la más influyente y de más larga historia en Occidente, como mínimo, ¿no? Con una enorme repercusión en la política, pero sobre todo lo que yo siempre destaco es la repercusión que ha tenido en el pensamiento occidental, en el cambio de valores sistemático que ha ido buscando desde que existe en el siglo XVIII hasta la fecha. Así que esa transformación de la civilización occidental, en primer lugar, sobre todo ese cambio de paradigma, de valores, de creencias, en buena medida se debe a la acción de la secta. En grados hay 33, según en cuales las connotaciones religiosas anticristianas están muy claras. He puesto el ejemplo de uno que conozco bien y que he solido llevar lo publico en mi libro sobre el tema también, tomado, insisto, de don Manuel Guerra.
See this, family? It's not a joke. It's difficult to know and find things like these that cause us to really reflect on how far this goes. How deep is this rabbit hole? You know what I'm saying? Like, how deep is it really? Like, where are we going with this stuff, man? It's pretty amazing that we're getting to this particular part of this life of ours. And there's some history to this stuff. Fam, so that's I'm pretty much almost done here. Hope you guys appreciate this information. I hope you took notes because this type of stuff doesn't really get, provided to us, especially on YouTube, let alone in our classes and so-called environments of people we trust. Everybody, for the most part, at least 95% of the people want to be sold, bro. Straight up. Sheep mentality, because like this, there's a laziness, and a lot of people excuse it because they have to work. So do I. Everybody has to work. It just matters. What that matters is, like, are you really seeing truth, or are you just kind of like dealing with lies? Because this stuff is not a joke, man. All right, let's go finish these things up, and then we done.
Flag. There's the picture of the eagle. You'll recognize on the Mexican flag there's the picture of the eagle and the snake and the cactus. And the story of that was that there was a native people to Mexico, native Mexican people that were traveling from another country. They had to leave their home for some reason, and they were searching for a new place to settle. And they had a prophet among their people who said that they would see a sign of an eagle carrying a snake from a cactus whenever they arrived there. And that's exactly what happened. According to the story, these people are migrating, and they come to the Mexico City Valley on the side of the lake, and they see a cactus, and on the cactus there's an eagle with a snake in its claws, and it takes flight, and that's how they know where to found the city. And after they founded the city, they named it. If I remember correctly, they named it Tenochtitlan, which was the original name of Mexico City. And in that native tongue, from what I've heard, it means City of the Messiah, or the Promised Land. Or sorry, it means the Promised Land. And the people of Mexica, which is the ancient version of the name of Mexico, it actually means people of the Messiah.
And in case you don't know what that is, let me remind you once again. Because unless you look, no one will tell you. Okay? Let me see if I can find. Where are you right here? Hold on a second here. I think it's this one. Thought I had it out already. No, not it. Maybe this is the easier. This page. People boast about themselves, especially when it comes to the Edomites and Amaleks, right? This is from a book called Jew, God, and History, and one of their famous writers actually sold a lot of these. More than 2 million, for sure, more than 3. Listen to what they say on page 371. You heard that guy say what MESHIACHA mean, right? So Jewish history in America begins with the expulsion of the Jews from Spain in the same year and month that Columbus set sail on his first voyage in search of trade route to India. Total bullshit. See, this is bullshit right here. The Columbus concept, yes. But the whole concept of route to India is bullshit, and I'm going to show you, okay? I want to show you. Jews served on board his small flotilla as able-bodied seamen, map readers, interpreters, and surgeons. Now watch. So for anybody that is very stupid, or at least not willing to open their eyes and look and see and listen to what I'm about to say or read, then I can't help you. As a footnote to history, these are so-called Jewish people that came here, okay? And they're writing about this, of their history. As a footnote to history, we must record the fact. Footnote to history, we must, that means it's mandatory, record the fact. Because this is the channel with facts over fiction. We must record the fact that the Indians on the Caribbean island, where the flotilla first landed, were greeted in Hebrew and in Arabic or Aramaic, so it's more than likely than Arabic, by one Luis de Torres, a Jewish interpreter aboard the flagship. Why? For Columbus was certain that the natives spoke either Hebrew or Arabic. Now, Just in belief, fam, they were already like doing trade between that region and India. It's not like they did not know. So that concept of supposedly like we're looking for Indians from air, no. Okay. Now, how do we know? How do we know this? Torres, a Jewish interpreter, brought the flagship for Columbus, was certain that the natives spoke either Hebrew or Arabic. And you know what? They don't deny it. Matter of fact, they confirm it without really saying it. It was the Torres, incidentally, who discovered maize and brought it to Europe, where with the potato, it enriched the diet of the Western man. So, did he say, no, we were wrong, they didn't speak Hebrew or Aramaic? No, not at all. They actually had a, you know what I mean? Like, they actually did speak it. But you're going to hurt people's feelings when you show this kind of stuff because nobody's ready to accept it. This is from A History of the Jews, page 12. It says here on the bottom, Vignog admits that Columbus became so thoroughly Spanish as to lose the use of his mother's tongue, supposedly. In none of the evidence, however, does Van Gut find ground for the Hebraic origin of the discoverer. That this great man wrote in biblical style, he was found quoting the prophets. By choice, he preferred to read books that were either biblical or Jewish in origin. He himself wrote a book of prophecies. I would love to find that shit. Columbus left a legacy to a Jew. Jews protected him. He was a Varicius. He was a Varicius. He thought himself the messenger of Jehovah. Finally, he had a fresh colored complex, fair hair, an equine nose. I don't know how that matters, but and it says page 13, sorry. It's as the world knows of the Israelite type, in particular of the southern Jews, all these facts, say Vaughan, constitutes poor reasons for making Jew of Columbus. But I have a book called El Descubrimiento de los Judíos of the Americas, and they confirm it. They confirm it themselves that he was. Watch this real quick. This is in Spanish, and we're just pretty much finishing with this. Book called Los Conquistadores Psicópatas by Carlos Elias Beltón. It's in Spanish. Hold on. Butron. God, stop, bro. You're messing up so much on your reading. Anyways, and again, it's in Spanish, so forgive me, but it's on page 71. El 12 de octubre de 1492, Cristóbal Colón no descubrió América, contrario a lo que comúnmente se conoce. Esta fecha representa el principio de la submisión total, la brutal explotación y el exterminio de millones de indígenas. La entrada de Cristóbal Colón en el Mar Caribe significó el aniquilamiento sistémico de los habitantes de las islas, de las Antillas y de la destrucción de la cultura taína. Okay? And it says here, el inicio de estos procesos de la explotación y la esclavización se representan históricamente en Cristóbal Colón. La cruel política iniciada por Colón y continuada por sus sucesores desembocó en un genocidio completo. Cristóbal Colón, marinero y Monzón Samuel. Dice, la explotación en que sometió a los indígenas fue brutal. Les exigía la entrega de ciertas cantidades de oro a cambio de un colgante de cobre que les servía como salvoconducto para preservar su vida. So apparently we use a lot of copper. Something to do with longevity of our life. Okay, yeah, I'll look into that. I've heard it before, by the way. Cuando se entregaban Cuando se encontraban algún aborigen sin dicho colgante, se le cortaban las manos. Oh shit, no, hold on a second. So they're talking about like just particular material, man. If our brothers brought this, if they didn't bring what they wanted, they would chop their hands up. Y se le dejaba de sangrar hasta la muerte, and until you bled to death. Asimismo, Colón fue el primer promotor y traficante de esclavos. Desde su base en Haití, Colón envió múltiples expediciones hacia el interior. No encontraron oro, pero tenían que llenar las naves que volvían a España con algún tipo de dividendo. En el año 1495, relacionaron una gran excursión en busca de esclavos, our people, capturaron a 1,500 hombres, mujeres y niños Arawak, our people. Les retuvieron en corrales vigilados por españoles y perros, like I had shared in the video, para luego escoger los mejores 500 especímenes y cargarlos en naves, meaning ships. De esos 500, 200 murieron durante el viaje. What do you think they did? They tossed them overboard. Have they ever done a movie about Native brothers and sisters being tossed overboard on ships? Fuck no. They reserved it to the fake ones. Ones that were helping these people enslave our gente. El resto llegó con vida en España para ser puesto a la venta por el arcediano de la ciudad. This is where it gets interesting, and we'll finish it here. Right? I'll go here. Como la pequeña ralea de las mujeres, los bebés abandonados sin sitio, armaba un jaleo horrible. Les rompimos el cráneo. Los otros niños fueron devorados por las bestias. So, the kids, they just didn't want to deal with them, so they would break their cranium or just feed them to the dogs. Como pago de una deuda de juego, el propio Colón me ofreció una magnífica esclava caribe de 11 años. This is an old man. This is a 50-year-old fucking man, 40-year-old man. They could have been, hold on, sorry. They could have been, hold on a second. This is we're talking about a 50, 40-year-old man, all happy about having an 11-year-old woman, 11-year-old young little girl. Hey, we know who you are, man. Why the fuck are you here, bro? I hope you're not Samuel. And if you're not Samuel, forgive me. But you said something that other day that he was here after he left. So I'm kind of wondering if this is you. So if it's not you, please just say it now, bro. Okay? Because if it is you, I can tell. Why the fuck are you asking? Remind me of how Osama bin Laden was in the Lodge of Cairo. Where the fuck does this come from? You've been watching this channel for a while. So I'm assuming you're Samuel. If you're not, forgive me, brother, but still, what kind of fucking question is that, dude? Like, you never asked, like, out of this fucking left wing, left, right, what is that called? Like, left side of the field question. You usually are, like, on point. Just trying to wonder, man. I pay attention to people's minds and the way they communicate. Don't think that I'm dumb like that. So forgive me if you ain't him, but I'm having a feeling you are him. It says here, ¿cómo pagó de una deuda de juego? El propio Colón me ofreció una magnífica esclava caribe de 11 años. Cuando quise ejercer mis derechos sobre ella, meaning when he wanted to put his poker in this 11-year-old girl. This was either a white guy, black guy, you know what I mean? They were all here, bro. Arab too, you know what I'm saying? They were all here. Psalms 83 is not a fucking joke. It's legit, okay? When he wanted to exercise his penis penetration on an 11-year-old girl, this fucking grown-ass man from Europe or Africa or Middle East, one of these motherfucking places, or a Jew, for all I fucking know, comenzó a gritar y se me resistió. Well, what do you think, dude? She's a little fucking kid. Tuve entonces que disciplinarla con mi látigo y forzarla. Heavy duty, bro. Heavy duty. What's up? What's up, Gurakuya? Good to have you here, man. And to everybody else, in case I didn't get the chance to say something, I just wanted to get through this. These old world foreigners landed in Keskia. That's when their bullshit began. Yes, sir. It's in these people's DNA to be like Epstein. Yeah, bro, like straight up. So now I'm kind of wondering, Europeans will never be American. I mean, I'm trying to wonder, man, are you Samuel? Because I'm thinking you are. It's fucking sad, bro, if that's you, man. I mean, I don't know, man. Now I talked to a couple brothers about this shit, and it's like, bro, for a man to be infatuated with you like that, it's fucking weird. Weird, man. Please, European, please tell me you're not him. If you ain't, my bad, brother, but I think you really are, dude. Sorry, fam. I gotta go, man. Y'all have a good night. I hope it was educational and at least edifying for some of y'all that believe some bullshit. We're gonna continue with this channel as best as we can, and we're gonna continue to push forward on the fact that that New Testament is full of shit and it's corrupting our people. We get rid of that, watch how things start changing. Good night.
Yeah. Oye, es nada más y nada menos que el motherfucker bless you, Mike. De Plaza de Kings. Estos bebés son Big Papo, dude. No sean rebeldes, deja el revolú. Yo no me quede, yo me hospede junto a Belzebú. No me remete, plebe, no soy leve como tú. Si hay algo que no muere, eso es el hip hop, Perú. Y para estos pericos te traje una chica perica. Atrás te voy a mostrar como dos monstruos rap trafican. No trate ni trepe, solo trote, señorita. Treque, donde la sangre salpica. Se aplica, te explica, replica. ¿Pa' qué? Aplica, practica, suplica, con fe. A mi perro grita, yo lo mataré. Tu madre llora y canta la bandeja. Flow peregrina, chivolo propina, ina. Hacen base, mejor coja vaselina. No imagina mi vida fuera de una esquina. Yo solo quiero más chavo pa' comprar más chilindrina. Gira, que somos puros animales rompiendo de todos los cristales. Repete señales que a ti no te sale. ¿Qué pasa, compadre? Somos naturales. Voy a llenar todas las editoriales. Rate de mi huevo pa' los tribunales. Tú eres un antianal, yo experto en artesanales. Yeah, se me afaga la cimuita, sopló.
Hey, Terco 92 B09 está en la casa, barrio. Escucha bien. Así se hace, Yo. Tengo problemas de actitud y poca paciencia. Hablo si me da la gana, nadie me silencia. No quieren aceptar que pa' muchos soy influencia. La voz de los barrios que llega a tocar tu conciencia. Yo sé que muchos quieren llegar a ser tendencia y hacen lo que sea sin pensar en las consecuencias. Es la diferencia, yo mantengo mi esencia y ustedes por pegar han cambiado hasta de apariencia. Y no es que lo diga yo, pero la gran evidencia es que cambian de personalidad con frecuencia. Y no son locos con inteligencia, solo quieren un poco de atención con insistencia. No presumo en nada, hago todo a mi conveniencia. Por eso te doy una sugerencia: conmigo no busquen competencia, que llevo 10 años ganándole a la vida y lo sabe la audiencia. La firme, qué ocurrencia, ¿cómo pueden joder sin prudencia? No se dan cuenta que mi experiencia es a base de exigencia. Mi trabajo es con independencia y el de otros de un productor depende de su permanencia. Sigo firme en la resistencia, dándole más rap en el track hasta por correspondencia. Que muchos disques evolucionaron, no es coincidencia. El dinero y la fama hizo que pierdan su decencia. Terco 92, cuando quieras, donde quieras.
¿Cómo? Sí. He aprendido a sobrevivir de las maldades, comprendiendo que nada es como tú sabes. Pa' decir verdad, la lucho a diario. No me critiquen, no me justifico, siempre hago lo que predico. Soy de barrio y rico en talento. De una me sacan por mi forma de ser y me acento en el yauca. Mi gente la está rompiendo por ser parte de este movimiento. Quiero saludar a las personas que nunca confiaron en mí, que hoy por hoy se paran cuando me ven venir. Bye bye motherfuckers en estas líneas. Bye bye a fluir. Déjate llevar como hay people in the street. Yo. Déjate llevar como hay people in the street. Hey, hey, hey. Oh, yeah. Hey. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 es la torita aquí en la casa, primo.
Quiero pensar, pero no puedo, no. El ruido en la ciudad está consumiendo, Quieren pensar sin ni siquiera estar al mando. Tanta publicidad subliminal te está matando. Les cuesta decidir por sí mismos cuál es su mando. Publican sonrisas con el corazón llorando. Quieren brillar pero sin tener que valerse de tener sus ideas propias. Los veo a todos igual, solo son la réplica de la imitación de una triste copia. Obedece, la vida es un suspiro y envejeces. Te dejas distraer por estupideces y pierdes el eje. Te duele por dentro, entonces te creces, pero aceptas mucho menos de lo que mereces. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que decís, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar y solo así podrás brillar. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que decís, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar y solo así podrás brillar. Conserva tu juicio y tu intuición, más activos que el que lucha por lo suyo y no se rinde. Yo ya sé bien cuál es mi misión, y es contarte que el mal por su propio pie pronto se extingue. No caigas bajo su control, pues por la televisión es normal que mal lo pinte. Tú mantente firme en conexión con la fuente de creación, vivirás siempre de fin de. Dios abre los ojos, dime lo que ves. A tus propios hijos matándose por billetes. Niños mueren cada 2 por 3. Pa' unos es bendición, con otros por su causa pequen. Y yo que intento ser un ser crístico, voy bendiciendo hasta los diablos. Piensan que es cierto el mensaje típico. Dicen que invento lo del engaño, y mientras lucho contra mis errores, demonios escucho, me ofrecen soluciones. Pero sé que hay un ángel que quiere que mejore. Me dice haz un trabajo interno antes de que lo ignores, antes que otra vez llores y se llenen los mares de pena y de dolores, ya que en mi mente no caben. La paz no va en un sobre, somos algo importante. Nunca te revelaste y por eso no lo sabes. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que decís, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar y solo así podrás brillar. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que decís, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar y solo así podrás brillar. Me desperté tan cansado, me sentía mal herido de todo lo que he pasado. No me quita lo aprendido, por dentro me he perdonado, pero casi no me olvido. Me desperté tan cansado, me sentía mal herido de todo lo que he pasado. No me quita lo aprendido, por dentro me he perdonado, pero casi no me olvido, no. Todos repiten lo que dice el referente, discursos vacíos lejos de ser coherentes. De lo que no sabes será mejor que no inventes, que investigues y no te dejes lavar la mente. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que decís, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar y solo así podrás brillar. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que decís, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar y solo así podrás brillar. Quiero pensar, pero no puedo, no. El ruido en la ciudad está consumiendo, todos se preguntan quién, pero nadie puede responder hasta que pegue el fierro en la mano. recuerda que la vida no tiene un valor y grita al cielo, mejor recógeme a mi Señor. Pase lo que pase hoy, siempre con la mente tu recuerdo en mi corazón te llevaré. Para donde quiera que yo voy, pienso diferente, es que el amor de ahora está presente. Pase lo que pase hoy, siempre con la mente tu recuerdo en mi corazón te llevaré. Para donde quiera que yo voy, pienso diferente, es que el amor de ahora está presente.
Dime dónde están los que desaparecieron, los que no volvieron, los que de uniforme se vistieron. ¿Dónde están los que ya no están del soldado Juan, que una bala traspasó su cuerpo con el ruido de una? Son historias como mi prima Gloria, que su cuerpo no aparece pero queda su memoria. Niña de 5 años que su aliento ya es agónico, encuentra cuerpo pero envuelto está en periódico. La vida es una tumba que la suerte te depara, la muerte está en la mano de aquel hombre que dispara. Padre que espera a su hijo que vive en la urbe, pero al día siguiente lo recogerá en la morgue. Se cuentan horas, días y también los calendarios. Primo, nadie sabe si caerás en cementerios, como mi amigo Mario que jugaba a ser sicario, hasta mató a su hermano y lo tomó como algo serio. Se cuentan horas, días y también las estadísticas. Para la policía un expediente más en balística. La lista aumenta y también el desenfreno, como aquel niño que golpeado en el hogar se siente ajeno. Le pone freno y toma la decisión, sacando la pistola de su padre en el cajón. Su lápida ahora pinta: hijo mío, te queremos. Si la muerte nos permite, algún día nos veremos.
Pase lo que pase hoy, siempre con la mente tu recuerdo en mi corazón te llevaré. Para donde quiera que yo voy, pienso diferente, es que el amor de ahora está presente. Pase lo que pase hoy, siempre con la mente tu recuerdo en mi corazón te llevaré. Para donde quiera que yo voy, pienso diferente, es que el amor de ahora está presente. ¿Dónde van?
¿Dónde? Dime dónde van las almas que se pierden en el camino de la vida. ¿Dónde van? Dime dónde van. Que detienen pulsos y otros por impulsos para el diván. Penas que se cuentan en la esquina, con la neblina que la muerte se avecina por la acera. Joven estudiante muere en una balacera. Otro lío de pandillas que en el diario aparecerá. La vida se desaparece como el humo de un cigarro, loco disparando desde un carro. Otra vida que se pierde bajo el cielo gris. No se puede ser feliz cuando gente muere en un desliz. Como Marco que soñaba con ser narco, viajar en barco y olvidarse de las penas en su cuarto. Pero cada vez que parcha ya se siente harto, y su corazón marchito marcha para el infarto. Almas en oferta como Berta, que se acuesta en una cama pero en otra se despierta. Son 14 años y ya perdió la niñez, que desaparece un viernes y no regresa en 2 o 3. Coleccionando amores sin importancia a los rumores, malos menores sin temores y sin valores, deambulando en cada city, con el futuro a convertirse en un graffiti.
Pase lo que pase hoy, siempre con la mente tu recuerdo en mi corazón te llevaré. Para donde quiera que yo voy, pienso diferente, es que el amor de ahora está presente. Pase lo que pase hoy, siempre con la mente tu recuerdo en mi corazón te llevaré. Para donde quiera que yo voy, pienso diferente, es que el amor de ahora está presente.
Tan mal cuando miras a otro lado, los fantasmas del pasado no se detendrán hasta verte derrumbado. Peores lo hemos pasado. Andaba a golpes con la tristeza, me aportó riqueza, me otorgó sabiduría, pues se dibujaba en todas mis piezas. Yo con alegría le daba color después. La aguja sigue girando, tiempo parece burlar de mí. Dijo que sanaría esperando, pero creo que la espina aún sigue ahí. Con Los dedos no voy palpando, cierro los puños, escapa de aquí. Agonizando, no me espera el tiempo, no voy a esperar por ti.
Nuestras huellas en la orilla se han borrado por la marea. Si esas estrellas ya no brillan, las entiendo pa' que veas. Sea donde sea, bajo la tormenta o dentro de la odisea, donde arañas cubren el cielo de tela, los aviones nadan y los barcos vuelan. Aunque parezca que va bien, no sabes bien si va mal. Besos que pueden doler, ojos que pueden matar. Tengo mi alma en el almacén encerrada, mi corazón está en huelga, mis sentimientos en ámbar. Gente, Calamala dijo que estaría presente. Fallaron como nunca, se fueron para siempre. Millones de razones para vengarme, pero a veces duele más actuar indiferente.
Como no quieren ver ahogados, tenemos branquias y cerrados los bronquios como la mente de un guardia. Yo soy la montaña y vine con la cordillera. Más cojones que tu ganga tiene una madre soltera. Tú cúbrete si suena mi tu. A mí lo tengo soldado fumando de su palulú. Ni un conjuro de grimorio me lo salva del velorio. Pa' tener pila valorio se matan vestidos de emporio. Y yo no quiero una pistola, estoy soñando que la vida que quería me llega a tiempo. Desde que yo la vi sola, loco ando. Vino a verme cuando el sol se estaba poniendo y se dejó una pluma y se perdió en la bruma. Nunca se despidió de mí, nunca se despidió de mí.
Vivo en un mundo que parece roto y sé que no, porque todo es perfecto y lo debo plasmar. Me fumo un trocolor tras otro y lo veo todo otro color. Me siento libre porque vuelvo a conectar. Mi gente sufre y no lo puedo evitar, más que dándole consejos siempre desde la humildad. Es su camino hacia la fraternidad. Solo puedo que enseñarles a respetar y amar. Con esta bendición, como no voy a aprovechar los códigos que llegan, los tenemos que aceptar. Si me reencarné fue para ayudar y no para malgastar mi tiempo en beneficio del mal. En la unión nace la fuerza y eso nos hace juntar las ganas que siempre tuvimos para iluminar a la gente que se le ocurra y la malla armonizar. Vinimos para dar fuego a la que no nos va a quemar.
Arda y por dentro la llama, no puedo contener la ras. Churruscao el corazón, el armazón no puede llegar a pesarme más. Si abro la boca, tu tumba al suelo, me muelo a diario y sobrado de gas. Escupo risas perfectas, paladas de besos eternos, no mueren jamás. Cuando acabe mi condena, me vi muy solo y perdido. Cada vez más negra la flema, más elegante el problema, pero planté cara a todos mis enemigos. Recuperé las ganas, las fuerzas y el garbo. Dedico requiems a mis diablos, que aquí estoy vivo de milagro. Delicadas flores crecieron entre los cardos. Me dicen vienes más delgado que de costumbre. Será de tanto que he bailado en el alambre, que a tanta pena es mejor no ponerle nombre. Llevamos la música en vena, nuestra sangre.
So European will never be Americans, bro. Message to you. It's because the other day you posted something that said animal, and that's like some shit that he says a lot or said. You know what I mean? So it's like it kind of like triggered it, and I was just wondering, like, why the fuck would you say that now? I don't even know if you had said that before, honestly. So then, you know, when you mentioned that, when you made that comment, and we were kind of way ahead. You're still behind. You're watching like, you know, past hour or so. That's why it was awkward. Forgive me, brother. All right, you have a good night, man. Hope you're here. I'm thankful you're here, bro. I'm thankful you're here, bro, and I hope you appreciate the info. Good night.
y Cal. Hijo, abre los ojos. Tu cuerpo se queda con nosotros, pero tu espíritu debe seguir. Busca la luz. Aléjate de las sombras. Deja que nuestro dolor sea tu fuerza. Desde aquí iluminamos tu camino. Lucha como nosotros ante esta pena tan grande. Yo soy tú. Tú eres yo. La muerte que hoy nos separa, mañana volverá a unirnos. Eres libre, hijo.